Hello, in this presentation I'll be showing you how to use Scratch to make an image or a sprite move back and forth across the screen using the left arrow and right arrow keys from your keyboard. The first thing I'll do is I'll hover over the Choose a Sprite button and click on Choose a Sprite. And the sprite that I will select is the one for the bat that actually consists of a number of images. I want to get rid of the cat sprite, so I'll click on the button for the cat sprite and click on the cross to delete this sprite. With the bat selected, I'm going to the left across here to the Costumes tab, and the only costumes I want are the second and third ones. I want to get rid of the first one and the last one, so I'll click on that first costume and I'll click on the cross to get rid of it, click on that last costume, click on the cross to get rid of it, and now there are only two costumes associated with this sprite. I'll click on the Code tab, and now what I want to do is I want to decrease the size of the sprite by 50% and control the position of the sprite precisely by changing the X and Y coordinates. So this is the region where I'm going to do this very precise work. I'm going to double click in the size text box and type in the number 50. And then what I'll do, now that the sprite is 50% smaller, I'm going to go here to choose a backdrop, click on the Choose a Backdrop button, and the backdrop that I'm going to select is the XY grid. I'm going to click on the button for the bat sprite, and I'm going to highlight that number there in that text box for the X coordinate. I'm going to type in the number 0 and press enter. So now the X coordinate is 0, and I do the same thing for the Y coordinate, well, except that this time I type in the number 100 and I press enter. And now I'm going to create some code to control the movement of the bat. So every time I press the right arrow button, I want the bat to move to the right. I want its X coordinate to increase. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Events button here in the far left, and I'm going to drag into this coding region here, this block which says when space key is pressed. Except I'm going to click here on this drop down list and choose right arrow. And when the right arrow is pressed, I want the X coordinate to increase, to change by positive 10. Well, I'll click on the motion section there, and I will drag in change X by 10. So my sprite will respond to the event right arrow key press, and when that happens, it will move in the positive X direction by 10 units. But I also want the costume to change, and that'll affect the way the sprite looks. So I'll click here on the looks button. Here is the looks section, and I'll drag next costume into the coding region there. So now you'll be able to see how the X coordinate changes whenever I press the right arrow key. It changes by 10 and moves across to the right. Well, I want to be able to do the same thing with my left arrow key. So I'm going to perform a right mouse button click over these blocks of code. Click on duplicate and place the duplicate down there. So when the left arrow is clicked, when the left arrow key is pressed, I want the X coordinate to change by -10. So when I press the left arrow key from the keyboard, it moves in the negative X direction by 10 units, and when I press the right arrow key, it moves in the positive X direction by 10 units. The problem with this program is that if I keep on pressing the right arrow key, my bat will end up flying off the stage. And similarly, if I press my left arrow key continuously, it will fly off the stage towards the left. I need to work out a way to stop that, and that is something that you'll see in my next presentation.